Good morning. Today is the 31st of October 2024 and it's a happy Halloween as well. So I'm dressed up ready for today, which is great. I'm going to take my kids out trick-or-treating a bit later. Still only 1 PM here in the UK. But let's crack on. Before we start, let's look and see what could be moving the market today. We had a big reaction on 8:30. We had personal spending, jobless claims, PCE, quite a few things come through. Was that PPI as well? PPI. So a few things came through, and we had a big negative reaction to that. So let's just close out. Later on, we've got news coming up, PMI coming up again at 9:45, and then we've got some minor news today. So just keep an eye on 9:45. That's our reaction candle on the hourly. As you can see, we were just breaking over VWAP at the time, and that news came out and it dropped down. And I know that because I took a trade this morning, a nice early morning trade, and you can probably see where I took it. It was based, let's open up my pen, it was based right on this level we've been watching at 5800. So I waited, it came down. In fact, I was a little bit late in, to be fair. Saw it break the hourly, and then I looked for the entry, and I'll show you my entry. Let's just move that out of the way. On the 2-minute chart I used, so you can see here this is perfectly set up. It was, and I couldn't resist. I don't normally trade pre-market, but it came into a level I was watching, and then I talk about this quite a lot. It curved around, and you can see putting in a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then it put in an equal high and then an equal low, and it held that level. So it's a good level, and this level's been in place for a long time, and you can see we were smack bang on the money on that level. And then I still didn't take it. I wasn't awake, I wasn't around at this time, I wasn't really watching the market that early in the morning. 5, so what's that, would be about 10 AM this UK time, but I wasn't really watching the market. I only saw this level. I kind of knew the level was there. As soon as it broke that point of control, I was to come out, it pulled back and retested these levels again. So I went long on that level there, and then I got out. My target, my stop was, in fact, a slight. No, that's exactly what I got in. No, my mistake, sorry, I got in on this pullback. So I was waiting for it to pull back, and then I think I said, I missed it actually. I wasn't paying attention, it came back. So when it came back down to retest this area again, this is where I got in. And it came back to the 50 moving average, so it's a better entry. And I got in on the break of these two red candles. So I was looking at the 5-minute and the 2-minute. And so my stop was just below here, and my target was right on VWAP. And I'll be honest, the news was coming up and I had to leave. So I got out just as we got up to where I drew my line in. So I didn't quite get to my target, but it was a scalp, and it's a nice easy play. And again, waited for the break of trend. So this is a trend line. We can see that trend line broke there. We had that trend line there broke, and you can see where it's curving around. It's one of my favorite plays. Lots of volume at the bottom. Hourly level, you could say hourly level as well. Look at the RSI, totally oversold as well. And where's my volume? It was high volume as well, but there's no volume on here. I need to sort that out. It does that every day. And then obviously this is my favorite play. We broke the trend, we pulled back, retested, and out. So I like the break and retest, or the bounce and retest. So whether I trade for the rest of the day, I don't know, but that was my trade this morning. But let's go into the hourly and look at some levels for today. So the first level we're watching is the same area, pre-market low, 5800. It's a psychological number as well, 5800. That's why I like it so much. And you can see we've got a big volume shove coming into that area as well, and the point of control's a bit further down. Area of confidence as well, we consolidated, broke out. There's a gap trade there as well, tops of pivots here, and we came back and retested it twice now. So we could watch for a double bottom to maybe do something like that, or we can watch for it to break through this level, pull back into 5800, and then hopefully tank down and then sell off. And then we've got a few targets. We've got the point of control as one of our targets, and there's not that many levels really until we get back down into this 57.30 area. Oh, a bit of a wonky one. Let's zoom out a little bit more. You can see why I like this area. It's a big key level. I've got an alert sitting there. There's an area of confluence as well. So tops of candles here. Was the ceiling. Now it's became the floor. Bottoms of candles. So I quite like 57.20. 5700 as well, psychological number, where the point of control is as well. So we can watch this area, it comes right into that point of control. So I do quite like this area for a bounce. If we can get down that area, I'll be watching definitely along here. 5720 to 5700 for the bounce. Any closer levels, so we've got a higher risk bounce at pre-market low. I'll say higher risk because we've already bounced once and you normally don't get quite the same reaction. It may be doing something like that and break down. I do quite like the break and retest of pre-market low as well. We're coming right up into this area of confluence, that area there, close to that area, and these bottoms of pivots over here. But notice the lack of volume in that area until we get a little bit further up. Where's the volume? It's about up here. So another area I do quite like. If we do see a bit of strength, I do quite like the rejection in this 58.40 area. It's the bottoms of these pivots. We had big reactions when we were there before. Last time we was there, big push up, came back down, big push up, came back down, big push up. You know, we've played this trend line. And also I do quite like if we come back up and retest this trend line as well. So these are the two regions I'm watching. 58.40, 58.50 area, 58.55. So this is a big region to watch, but try and find a play in that area. And if we see real strength, then we can still continue to watch this area, 58.95 to 5900. And that was a good short yesterday there as well. In fact, I did okay yesterday. I only played NQ yesterday, which I'll get to that trade in a minute. Didn't play any day trades. And that's it really, that's all I can see. So key area is this area here. If we lose that, we can take another step down and I'll draw the trend line when we get there. Otherwise, we're coming back up into this big area of confluence, and that's our rejection point. Just draw it as a rectangle. And the reason I like it as well is because we've got this volume shelf, and also you've got the point of control, big volume shelf and loads of volume, so it's going to be hard to break through this area. But if we do, then we could see pushing up into the all-time highs, and if we don't, then we can watch it for the rejection back down. So 58.60, 58.50, this area for the rejection. Let's take a quick look at the order flow right now to see whether that's doing anything. If you can see my screens, I've got 4 screens. I'm actually experimenting with some other order flow software. Let me open it up. And it's not quite. Just load it. It's called a company called Go Charting, and just drag it in. It doesn't quite give you everything. In fact, I've compared the order flow. It's definitely spot on to the NinjaTrader one, but unfortunately, it only does time based, not ranges. So, for example, here we go, 2-minute chart. It does look pretty good, and I'm keeping an eye on it, and I like the fact I can just quickly flip between order flow, candlesticks, imbalances, and order flow. There's a few little niggles like this, and now it's not gone back to the order flow I want it to. And yeah, I'm not quite sure why it does that. It's a bit annoying. So, but the order flow was working fine just a few seconds ago when I clicked that button. I think it's to do with defaults, but you know, something I'm playing with, and I do quite like the software. I like the fact it's quick and easy. I can just quickly look at order flow without having to have my NinjaTrader open. But let's look at the NinjaTrader order flow while we're here. See if there's anything going on. Okay, so one other thing, when I took my long earlier, it was exactly here, 7:30. I was watching order flow was going sideways, but the price was selling off. So to me, that looked like it was absorbing these orders up here. But we still had buyers interested as well, so that's why I went long. That's another confirmation I had. So not only was it hourly level break a trend, the order flow didn't sell off with the price, so that's why I went long. I was confident it was going to go up, and that's exactly what it did. I took it up there. I did wait. I held it through this pullback, and I think I took it just as it broke over. It was about there I took it actually, or it might have been there somewhere. I wasn't really paying too much attention because and we had the VWAP just a little bit above, I think it was. And then I was going to get out before this data candle, and so I'm glad I did. But right now we can see the price is holding this level, and the order flow, if you were to draw the same line, it's looking more bullish. So a little bit of a divergence. The price is going up, or I meant delta's going up while price is going sideways. So maybe we may see a bit of a push up or a reversal. So keep an eye on that. And one other thing to note as well, you can see it in the 10 range. Oh, let's go with that. This area up here, and then let's go back to 730. That's about here. Oh, it might have been on the Go chart and I was watching, but we had areas of point of controls. I think it was this area here. So, and you could use this as a stop loss if you're short. Same as I used the same areas. I was trailing up the order flow because I saw a few big orders in place, and as I was trailing up to take my profit, I was using the point of controls as my stop loss as well. And you can use this as a stop if you're short, because if it breaks through that, that's where the highest volumes are, the point of controls of those bars. It's probably going to take out the tops as well. But apart from that slight cumulative, that slight divergence where the price is going sideways, but you can see more recently prices, the delta's gone sideways as well. So but there was a bit of an imbalance here. You can see increase in price, increase in cumulative delta, price goes sideways, and in fact the price came down there as you can see, but delta just went sideways. In fact, it's slightly rising, so might see another leg up shortly. But then going back to the levels, let's flip back to my main screen. What I like is the fact if we do go back up, I do quite like the retest back up in this area, what we just discussed a few minutes ago. So that's my plan really on ES today, and watching for a bounce, and if it doesn't bounce and it loses that level of break and retest, looking for a rejection up in this area. It's basically retesting this trend line, retesting this area of confluence and yesterday's low. And also I also watched pre-market high and pre-market low. So pre-market low will be the break and retest short, and then pre-market high will be the break and retest long. Let me just get my volume. Why am I losing my volume here? Every day I seem to be adding it back in. Volume bars pro. These are indicators which I create myself or adapt other ones, and you can buy them from my online store. I'm not sure there's volume pros up there yet, but there's links below in the description. What I wanted to do is just have a look at the volume over the last few days as it's pulling up and breaking down, but it doesn't really look like there's no anomalies there. Let's go to the daily. We talked about this a few times. All the selling candles have high volume. Selling candles, selling candles, selling candles, whereas all the buying candles, the green candles, have below average volume. We've been watching this sign of weakness as well. Top in tail candles the first sign. Bottom tails, you should expect to see bottom tails at a start of a trend, not an end of a trend. So which means at one point all those candles were red. So that would have been a red candle. That would have been a red candle. At one point that probably would have been a red candle as well. And let's get back to yellow. So the signs of weakness there, and then we pushed up, but to be fair, slight increased volume, down in the volume, so hard to judge, but we did have top and tails, lots of indecisions, and it's an inside, and we've been in the inside as well. We're still inside this range, so this is a key area, that area I was watching for the bounce, the break and retest. If we lose that area, we could be looking for a change of trend. If we break above that area, we could be looking for new all-time highs. And based on the volume, I'm looking for big volume spikes. I'd like to see a nice big volume spike come in on a red candle or top and tail candle, and then that could be the signal that we're changing our trend. Take a note, daily RSI as well is down at the 50% area, so we're not oversold yet or overbought, so we could see a little bit more movement down. Let's move on to the next one. SPY. It's still the daily. You can see volumes declining, gradually, slowly declining, while the price is increasing. Let's go to the hourly, get some levels. 1 second. Right, here we are. So pretty much like ES. If we come back up into this 579, 570, 580 area, I quite like that for the rejection. Back down. Otherwise we can watch, didn't quite get down there today, but we can watch break and retest of pre-market low. Just be a bit wary of this candle, even though there's a lack of volume down there. There could be orders, big orders still sitting there from when it was missed the first time round. Notice the increased volume as well, and potentially we may see a bounce of that area. So let's keep an eye on this area both for a bounce, and if we lose it, a break and retest short. Just scroll out a bit. Areas of confluence. If we do go short, we've got this area here. You can see, let's put the market up. Not a great deal of volume, but it's a few gaps there. Bit area of confluence as well, so bottoms of candles, tops of candles, right through the middle of this area as well. Tops of these candles, on the top of that pivot as well. In fact, now I've moved out, look what's happened. Point of control, sorry. So we've got the point of control, so that's a significant area, that area I just added in. So keep an eye on this area for a bounce. We can see there's plenty of volume there based on the point of control. So 572 is a bounce area. That's the level I just put in, and I was only basing it on these few candles here, gap fills. So watch for a break and retest of 575 short or 580 short. Oh, that's my phone, that's my door. Give me 2 seconds, I will be right back. I am back. Apologise for that. I also run a IT repair company, and mainly business IT, but I also repair computers. That's a collection. I've closed some of my shops recently, and I now chose to work from home, converted my office into a bit of a workshop as well. And I do normally only pick up people by appointments, but I forgot to say what time I'm not available. So going back to SPY, I'm watching 572 for the bounce, and I'm watching this area for the short. And we can also keep an eye on this area for a double bottom today, or a bounce, or a break and retest short. So a few areas to watch, same as ES. Let's look at SPX, just get our levels. Exactly same levels, nothing's really changed. We'll probably be opening up around here today, so around yesterday's low. So we can watch for that area. We only want to go long if the SPX is sitting above this level. If the SPX opens below and we're looking for a short, it's going to be hard, because potentially this is an area what was the floor is now the ceiling, and that could be acting as resistance. But this area I do quite like for the bounce as well, 57.70, and that's probably one of the levels we just looked at on the ES and SPY. NQ, look at that, bounce right off that trend line today, pretty close to it. Like I said, these trend lines, even though it bounced off of it, it's just it's an area rather than a line. So that's a decent play. So again, a bit like ES, if we can get up into this region, 20,500 is a psychological number, up into that region. So we've got point of control, that's one of our confirmations. It's the area of confidence we're watching, tops and bottoms of pivots. We've broken through it, we've yet to retest it, so always the first retest is it's the best move. And I think that's probably, we've got the 200 moving average up there as well, so quite a few reasons why we want to try and find a short in that area. So I do quite like 2,500 for the rejection. If we come back down and we hold this area, a bit like we here, we're putting this nice double bottom in the pre-market, that would be a great long. We can look for a double bottom, find a long back in, or if we lose it, we can look for the break and retest of pre-market low short, and then bounces or targets if we are short. Probably this area of confidence, the next level down, and it's a region as well, so we can keep an eye on this region here for a potential target, and we can watch that area for a bounce as well. I'm not a big fan of the bounce, probably prefer that area for a bounce. 20,000 is a psychological number. That's probably my main area for a bounce if we do lose it. But look at this, we've got the break, we're retesting the trend line right now, and I'm sure if you look at it on the 4 hour, and potentially if we get below there we could see a big move down. I know we had earnings last night, was it Microsoft? Look at that. Earnings, when was that? Wednesday evening, yeah, so earnings looked okay, but can't please your investors all the time, and it sold off. There's other earnings, was it Amazon? No, they're to come. Is that today? Amazon's tonight. I'm sure there's a couple others as well, but let's move on to QQQ, and obviously they're the tech firms which has sort of helped push the market down. QQQs, I do quite like this more than NQ, because I like this area of confluence. Tops of candles, right through the middle, and then bottoms of candles here. I like to go with more recent ones, and that was one of the trend line candles, so that's probably why we've got big volume, and there's a point of control going through that area. We've got the 200 moving average up here as well, it's kind of sideways, starting to turn. So if we come back into this region, we can watch for rejections. Basically 494 rejection area, that's what I'd quite like. And obviously If we break above it, we can watch for a break and retest long. It's going to be hard. We've got volume above, and we've got, it's not very nice chart. It's a bit messy, so I don't really like longs. We can watch this area again for a bounce, but if we lose that area, we've got a lack of volume. The volume shelf starts just at yesterday's low, pre-market low, and then it filters off a little bit. So we could see a bit of a clean run down to the next pivot, potentially there, potentially that pivot as well, 487, and these can be bounce areas as well. Crude oil. Again, we're talking about crude oil yesterday. You can literally just play the zones because it's just reliably going through these zones. You can see that there, and these zones are in place before it did this. Bottoms of these candles, the tops of those candles. We've got this zone here, that zone there is a retest there. Come back up into that zone. Now we're heading back up into this zone, which just happens to be the point of control. So I quite like a 70 rejection. Back down. We can watch that as a target or a bounce, and if we come back down to this region, we can watch 67.50 for a bounce. If we get above the point of control, I still quite like this 71.66 for the rejection. Not sure I like 70.50 much more now because obviously we've gone through it a few times, but it's that area, and then we big gap down as well. So we could watch. Let's just zoom in a bit. There's a big gap fill as well, so if we can find a long, which we're starting to, we could potentially watch for gap fill. So let's keep an eye on over pre-market high, break and retest long to fill this gap, 71.50. This is gold. It's been on a big bull run, and it's coming into this area, one of the areas we've been waiting for. So let's watch this area for a bounce, and that area is 27.70, give or let. If we can get above pre-market high, we would have then broken this trend. So let's watch for a break above and retest into new all-time highs, and obviously yesterday's high could be a target, which is also an all-time high, and we can watch a break and retest long into that. I don't like shorting all-time highs because there's no real levels above. You know, you could use that as a higher risk rejection off of that top, but it's hard to, when you're making all-time highs, you're trying to find a short. It's hard to try and find a short when the stock is so strong. But take a look at volume as well. We had a big volume spike here. It was a sold when we sold off. We had just as big volume spike here as we sold off as well. So potentially showing an end. We've got high RSI as well, over 80, and now obviously we're right down in the oversold area. It was overbought yesterday, now we're oversold. So we could watch for a bounce. You know, if this keeps coming down, potentially we could see a bounce. Like last time it was down that area, we saw it bounce up. Look at that, it just kept going up. Last time it was down that area here, which is there, pushed up, didn't really break. Maybe that was stops were hunted there. You got straight back in. Look at that big run up. So that's if you ever get stopped out like that, and then look for a re-entry. And a re-entry would have been great just above there with your stop loss just there. So don't give up. RTY next. Okay, straight away it's coming into an area of confidence. I can see that this level here, pre-market low, is a bounce area. Let's add that in. And the reason I've added that in is because we've got pivot, 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 bottom pivot in the pre-market, going left. Got pivots there, pivots here, pivots over here as well, an area of confidence. So all of this area we can watch for a bounce. So 22.36 if that bounce is not already gone. If we get over a pre-market high, we can watch for a break and retest long into the next level, which would be into 22.62. We have got this trend line which we can keep an eye on as well, and while we're above this trend line and above the moving averages, we can look for longs. If we do break down yesterday's low, let's watch for a break and retest of pre-market low short, and that's an area of confidence as well. So I want to see it break through that, reject it, and we've got our target as these pivots will be our first target. Volume wise, if we do break down, there's lack of volume in between those levels, and we've got a volume spike down here. So down here could be a potential target, 22.16, and a potential bounce area as well. So let's just readjust that. There, 22.18 is the bounce or target if we go long. And then YM, and then finally we'll end on Bitcoin. Is looking pretty weak at the moment. Still running down. We've got this downtrend. It's rough downtrend. Coming into a bounce area. 42,000 is a big number, psychological number as well. Let's keep an eye on that for a bounce. I'll go left a minute to see what's to the left, but let's just have a look while we're there. We've got this retest area, so if we push back up and we retest that area, not only are we retesting a big area of confluence, a volume shelf starts appearing from that point onwards. Got all these pivots below as well, so big major area, and also it's the trend line, so we could watch for the break and retest of this area. So 42,300, 42,280 rejection on RTY, that's probably the best play. So especially while we're in a downtrend as well, so was that 5 different confirmations. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's look for a setup there. In fact, I'm going to put an alert in if we get up there. And then bounce wise, I've got another alert in at 42,000, and we're going to look left. And the reason we like that area is because we are close to a pivot here, but not quite. Area of confluence here. Top of a pivot there as well. If we zoom out further. Anything else? Oh, look at that. And we've got a big pivot here as well. So notice lack of volume before, and then the volume shelf starts just below that area. So we can watch this area for a potential bounce at 42,000. And obviously 42,000 is a psychological number. And then finally Bitcoin, which is been doing pretty well. Massively oversold, all the way up to 90, over 91, 93, 94% on the RSI, and so now rightly so oversold. It hasn't sold off, which is a good thing, showing it's a bit bullish, but it's just going sideways, consolidating, just waiting for the moving averages to catch up with it, and just resting. It's like a marathon runner. You sprint, you need to slow down a bit and then get your breath before it takes the next leg up. So we've already hit all-time highs, putting a new all-time high, and if we were to watch for a bounce, I do quite like this region here, 69,000 to 68,000 for a bounce. And then we talked about this for a lot of the year. Go to the daily, big bullish pattern. This is a cup and handle, that's the handle. I'll zoom into the handle because that's what we're interested in. And this is, you can see Wyckoff theory here as well, where we've been testing the extremes, you can see. And then you can see volume, you can see the volume test as well. And then here we go. So this is the interesting bit. And I try anticipating that by adding there, and like in there, like added there and there. But as soon as I saw it do this, that's why I added there as well. And it's coming in an area of confluence. We didn't put in any new lows, and it broke out. Missed the add on that trend line, but it's a big push up. This is exactly what we're looking for. Did we put in a new all-time high? 73.94, and I'm sure we went over 74. 74. It's very close. If it wasn't, it's an equal high, pretty much. So what I'm really looking for is the retest of this pivot here. Let's just draw that in as a level. And the reason I like that is the area of confluence, tops of these pivots, top of that pivot happens to be the top of that range, top of this pivot, top of that pivot as well where we broke out. And so if we come back down, I'll probably look for an add there. But I do want to take some profits at some point. I'm probably going to take out at least half. I might even do that today. I'll see what happens. I'm going to want to take out at least half of what I'm holding and then re-add that when we pull back down a bit, so that I'm always using profits rather than my own money, and just want to keep this running as long as I can. And obviously if we do sell off, we've got our 50,000, 40,000 add points, 60,000 all psychological numbers, and obviously 70,000 is the area we're at now, so I'm watching for that. Okay, I think that's it. Market's already open and we've sold off. We put in a new low. Let's go back to the ES. Go to the 5 minute. So here we go, we talked about the break and retest. So this is potentially what we're watching for. So let's just keep an eye on this. Otherwise it could be a bounce area. We just need to see confirmation. What confirmation are we looking for? That's quite a big move. So we really want to see it come into this region here. So if it breaks down back below the pre-market low, which is 5,800, then I'm probably going to look for a short there. Otherwise, I'm not going to touch it. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will be back tomorrow. Have a nice Halloween and trade safe. Don't forget, on the other stream, it's the live order flow stream. It looks a bit like this. And let's just zoom into the 2 minutes so we can see what's the 10 range, so we can see what's going on. There's a big sell-off. It looks weak right now. 32. Do you know what? When we get loads of data coming in, I notice that when I'm streaming as well, I notice that NINJATRADER slows right down, so I'm going to try and reset that. Okay, thank you for watching.